This is the Football Contest Show on VSIN, the sports betting network.
Compete for cash and a grand prize trip to Las Vegas with the Modelo Fight to the Top series. Enter 9 free fantasy football contests and rise to the top of the leaderboard to claim your share of $5,000 in weekly prizes and a grand prize trip to Vegas. Head to DraftKings.com/Modelo NFL now to get in on the action. Modelo, the official beer of fans with a fighting spirit. 21 years and over only. Terms and conditions and other eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Drink responsibly. Welcome back to the Football Contest Show. One of my favorite parts about this show, not only the reveal of all the picks, but now we bring in a guest who is an active contest participant and a very successful contest participant in 2021. It is Hannibal Barca. You can follow him on Twitter at Hannibal Johnson. Hannibal Barca, of course, is his contest alias name. And congratulations, Hannibal, first of all, for finishing 3rd and 5th in Circa Millions last season. That is quite an accomplishment and quite a haul of cash. I want to ask you, have you been playing in contests a long time? What is your background and your experience, and how did you make it all the way to the top?
Now, this is actually, first of all, thanks for having me, but this is my first contest last year. I haven't had any previous contest experience. I knew that I loved to do it, but I just stumbled across it just going back and forth to Vegas because, I'm out in San Diego, so I would just kind of go to Vegas here and there, and I was at the Westgate, I believe, and I stumbled across the contest, and that led me to finding out and delving more into contests that are taking place in Las Vegas. Ended up finding a proxy, and she told me, shout out to Megan, by the way, half-price proxy, but she gave me the scoop on actually what contest had the most participants, so that's what led me choosing the Circuit contest above any other.
Hannibal, when you look at Circa Millions so far this year, impressive records from the quarterly standpoint. And then we just had the consensus revealed to us from Derek and Jeffrey and Mike Palm from the Circa. It's like 69 people went 5-0 to start the second quarter. You're a first-time participant last year, impressive showing, like you mentioned, in the contest, 3rd and 5th. You have to tell us about the endurance aspect of this, though. For a new player such as yourself, what did you discover along the way to kind of endure the stress of this contest?
Wow. You're going to feel every single emotion throughout the season. It's it's equally fun and stressful. I wouldn't have it any other way. Every loss feels like 5 losses as far as how I was locked in, and just navigating the ups and downs and the what ifs. And as you get further in the season, one false move, you can go from 1st to 20th. Not that would be a bad thing, but it just shows you how much of a difference it is and how easy it is to get knocked down from top 5. The difference is a feather. The difference between 1st and 10th place is like a feather or two, and that's how I always say it. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of diligence, a lot of studying. But see, the difference is what I did going into this year compared to last year. Last year, I loosely watched the draft, and then I just went on in and just participated. My first time ever doing it, like I mentioned earlier. But this time I did a little different. I studied hours and hours for months leading up to the contest this year just to see, what it would be like to give every inkling of my mind to it, just to see what would happen. It could backfire because sometimes in this contest of this magnitude, knowing too much is actually could backfire. Knowing too much is not a good thing sometimes. Sometimes it's good to just kind of ease in there and just not know, because there were a couple games last year where I'm like, wow, I'm glad I didn't realize that player was injured, because I wouldn't have chose that game by that player being injured, and it would have just led me to a loss. Because sometimes the schematics of a team or a coordinator overtake the actual injury that might come initially.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's so much information out there. Sometimes you can experience an overload and talk yourself into a number of different scenarios on a particular game. Sometimes just best to stick with your gut instinct. You mentioned there a little bit, Hannibal, how you kind of changed your strategy a little bit this year. How's it going for you so far this year? Are you off to a good start?
Well, this time last year I was 22-3, 88%. This year not so much, but I did start off 9-1 this year, the first 2 weeks, and I was almost undefeated on my two first entries, but a couple bad beats. The difference between this time last year and this year is just a handful of games that went my way last year as opposed to this year. That's the difference. Like if the games were three quarters, I would probably be in the same situation that I was in last year.
That's a good one. I like that.
That is. Okay, Hannibal, let's get to some games here because I'm intrigued about your thoughts on some of these matchups. And we got a divisional one, Arizona on the road against Seattle. Looking at numbers at -2.5 here across the board. There's a 3 out there as well. There's a total 50.5 and 51 as well. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, this is an interesting matchup because my favorite running back in the league, Rashawn Penny, he's injured. Get well soon, but I think this guy Kenneth Walker III could have a big game, and I'm really banking on that with the two rookie tackles, the left tackle and the right tackle. They hit the ground running. They're playing like they've been in the league 5 years already, which I kind of figured they could do based off of watching like film on them. Mm-hmm. And Geno Smith is on a man on a mission. And I just like that running back to have about 120 plus yards rushing. That's what I'm thinking. And then you got the defense with Tariq Woolen, who was my favorite cornerback in the draft, as well as the hardest hitting safety or the hardest hitting cornerback, Mike Jackson, who I believe is going to somehow find his way in the Pro Bowl by the end of the season. Going against Arizona, they don't really have an identity all the way yet. But, Kyler Murray's been making some big plays and kind of keeping him in it until DeAndre Hopkins gets back in a couple weeks. So it's almost like a coin flip game, but this is more like a spot game. I think the Seahawks can win it. Has a good chance to win at home outright.
Yeah.
He is Hannibal Barca. He finished 3rd and 5th in the Circa Million contest last year and off to a pretty good start once again this year. I know another game that you had your eyes on was the San Francisco 49ers visiting the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, yeah, that's another game where a couple of rookies out on the Falcons side of the ball on defense, Troy Anderson and Arnold Ebitiki. I'll just say this. I think Troy Anderson, he's making his first start this week. So a lot of that was banking on him kind of having a breakout game being in his first game. I think he has all-pro potential. I think he can be the difference maker. There's no Cordell Patterson, but Tyler Agier, I believe out of BYU, can kind of steady the ship, maybe average about, 4.5 yards or so a carry just to kind of keep the chains moving. And I think the offensive coordinator, Arthur Moore, I think his name is, for Atlanta can kind of keep that banged-up defense of the Niners kind of guessing. And I still don't know if Nick Bosa is going to be playing. He might be a game-time decision, but I just still went with that. Arthur Moore and Kyle Pitts is due a big game. He hasn't had a game over 100 yards, I don't think, so this could be a perfect spot for Kyle Pitts to kind of maybe have a couple touchdowns and or over 100 yards.
All right, Hannibal, we've got just about a minute left here, but I just want to ask you, I mean, it's amazing that you did so well in your first time ever playing a contest. I thought you were going to say, yeah, I've been doing this for years. I mean, talk to me about the thrill of going through the contest and seeing your name there at the top of the leaderboard and the sweat of possibly winning the whole thing. I mean, it's something, right?
It's something special. Just the whole leading up to me going down there for the ceremony, just everything leading up, reading about myself in the paper. It was in the review journal. That was amazing. I never thought I would see nothing like that in doing something that I love to do. And then the night that I picked up the check, I went inside of the hotel room and I popped on the TV, and then matter of fact, it was you, Brady Cannon, talking about me. I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I never thought I would experience something like that. So it was just a thrill. Shout out to Derek Stevens and the whole Circa crew, VSIN, anybody that partook in one of the best experiences of my life from top to bottom.
That's fantastic,
awesome,
man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
I love
congrats.
it. Thanks for coming on with us,
Thank you.
Hannibal. Best of the luck to you going forward in Circa Millions this year. And maybe we'll be talking to you at the end of the year again about maybe a 3rd and 5th place again.
Oh, wow, that'd be wonderful. I hope so. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right, very good. That is Hannibal Barca, quite successful. Amazing that that was his first time. How about
I'm
that?
telling you, hey, there's a chance for all of us. I'm telling you, like that's the beauty of this contest. I understand the randomness of it too,
Yeah.
but the skill of it, the skill level, and not to be intimidated by the start of some, because there is an endurance factor in it. But yeah, I mean, Hannibal is a testament to the fact. Okay, yeah, I'll participate, see what happens, and he cashed in a third and a fifth place, so that was outstanding.
Well, and also putting a couple weeks together where he went 9-1 doesn't sound like it was beginner's luck last year either.
No, not at all.
All right, we wrap up the program on the other side. Mike and I get to our picks as we continue on the Pro Football. I just said Pro Football Blitz. This is the Football Contest Show.